Good afternoon. It's Thursday, 2:30, February 9th. This is a regular meeting of the Griggs County Commission. Will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Josh, do you just want to mute yourself until you're wanting to talk?
Yeah, give me a second, I gotta figure that one out.
Josh.
Yeah, Josh is in there.
Okay.
Okay, we'll take roll call. Avriel. Avriel, are you present?
I'm here, yep.
Josh is here via Zoom. Tranby is absent. Zorn.
Here.
Edlin.
Here.
And Wakefield is here. Should we have a look at the agenda? I think there was one item that was added. Farmstead credit applications. It's just
And then the only thing added into your packet for information was the stuff on Wayne's stuff for that project that I sent out this morning.
so. Have a look at the agenda. If anybody if we're in agreement, we'll approve that.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Edlin to approve the agenda. Could I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Zorn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Agenda approved. Now we'll have a look at the January 19th meeting minutes. Must not have figured out that mute thing yet.
I can mute him on my side, but then he couldn't try to.
Just up in the right-hand corner, left-hand corner.
Well, he muted himself now.
Third paragraph. There was continued discussion on the contract amendments. Chairman Wakefield called 3 times for additions discussion. I think it should be additional discussion.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes with the correction of additional, with the word, with the corrections.
We have a motion by Edlin to approve the agenda with the slight change to the language. Could I have a second to that?
I'll second that.
Second by Zorn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Minutes approved. So we'll have a look at the bills.
Still no budget put line in there yet?
There should be, we did, sorry, that's on me. We didn't print it with the balance on there. The budgets are in there. We
Oh,
just,
okay.
we just didn't print the report that way, I'm sorry. There is one in here for the, North Dakota Association of Counties, the dues. You guys approved those at the beginning meeting in January. When we went to go and write the check, it didn't write the check for the full amount, so this one didn't get paid. So I know I'd already got the approval for it, but I just wanted to bring it back so that it's in this bunch of bills for you guys. So
You voided the first check.
it never got written.
Never got written.
Yep. It was on the invoice report, but it never got an actual check written, so.
Weighing a pretty big bill to Gilbert's for $10,313, $15.
Yeah, I think that was those loader tires. Loader tires. Should be in the voucher there. Plus,
I'll make a motion to approve the expenses.
Got one on the North Dakota Association of Counties.
Yes.
$14,000. Is that a drastic increase from last year?
We have workers' comp in there, and that's a full payment that we pay out right away out of the general fund, and then when we get the breakout, then it comes out of the individual budgets. So then those will come in, and then it's the dues.
Okay.
The dues are 5,700 and the
Yeah, I
workers'
thought
comp
they
is
were
83.
43 before. Okay. And of course, those are written as separate checks.
Hmm?
Those are written as separate checks.
No, it's one check that'll go to the DCO.
We have any other way to itemize that? If we should have something happen to our software, do we have any way to go back and break that check out of what it was for?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We have a motion to approve the bill as presented by Edlund. Could I have a second to that?
I'll second that.
Second by Zorn. This will be a voice vote. Averill.
Yep.
Don't think that was him.
He unmuted for a minute.
Hmm?
Try again, Josh.
I don't think so.
Josh, we're voting on whether or not to approve the bills as presented. Yay or nay on your part? Zorn.
Yay.
Edlund.
Aye.
Wakefield votes aye. Bill's approved. Let's take a look at the monthly office reports.
I'll make a motion to approve the office reports. Anything there?
We have a motion by Edlin to approve the office reports. Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Zorn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Reports approved. Wayne, what do you have for us today?
I have a lot of stuff.
Sorry to hear that.
Don't expect to go home early today. No. Well, I was asked to look into right away that bridge. I contacted Dan Hines because his son rents the land there.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a name of Tom Silvernagle, is the person that owns the land. David gave me his phone and I called Tom Silvernagle and told him we were planning on building a bridge. We needed some right of way for it. And he was totally in support of it. Had no problem signing the easement. I said it has to be done properly. So I said I probably wouldn't be with him or talking to him anymore, but somebody else would be when we do the legalities of it. But I said there wasn't any bridge until 2024 if that's was through. So he had no problem. The only thing he's requested was to have the Hineses put the fence back up. Because he said they know how to do it right. I said that should be no problem. So I couldn't do any more than that. But so I'm done. No, not quite.
So we'll turn that over then to Jamie or to the
Jamie,
engineers?
or I think KLJ has a proposal figured out on their, I think Jamie could do a lot of it, but I think KLJ finalized it probably when we did the Dow Bridge.
Right.
So and Paul's here to talk about his project update of what the bridge and stuff. And then I had Samantha put in your folder some information about the prairie dog bill. This is from 2019 is when the press release came out. And it explains in there what it can be used for. It can be used for almost anything. It can be used to match. If you're doing a project, we used to use for matching. And the only thing we have to do is, if it's a small project, we just have to report back on even number of years, I believe it is, of how we spent the money.
How
didn't know
quickly
fraud.
does it have to be spent? I don't see that in there.
Pardon?
Well, what's the timeline for spending it? How long can we hang on to it?
I don't know if there is a timeline,
Good.
but we just have to report back every odd year, even year. 2024, we'd have to say if we spent any money out of that.
So we're allocated the money, or the money is forwarded to us? Are we allocated the money? It has to be, and in order to get it, we have to
The money
spend
is
it
in the treasury right now.
in our here. Okay.
Yep.
So it can be put toward. It can be a fund put towards future projects.
Future projects, yeah.
A nest egg.
Yep.
Okay.
So I don't know if, Samantha, did you get it figured out? You can do a printout. I think,
So is it gonna be an ongoing revenue stream, or does it wait till the bucket gets full and then dumps it in
it's
and
gonna
gives
wait
it
till
to
the
us?
bucket gets full again.
And then allocate it?
Do you know about how much it was supposed to be?
Should have been $900.
Yeah, no, I don't.
It's 800. It had gone up, it was 800 and some thousand.
Okay, because we had a payment of $183, $183,210.60, and then a miscellaneous payment of $50 or $50,000, but I didn't know what those were for, so those were the ones that I got from Maddie.
Must be 900,000.
Yeah, I don't got that.
And then also the township money is supposed to be here too.
Right.
Townships would get around 9,000, I think, or something like that.
So, yeah, it says the bill allows them, meaning the counties, to save their allocations and apply them to meaningful projects they may otherwise have not been able to do without burdening citizens with special assessments or property taxes. But the law requires the funding be used for essential infrastructure projects, which includes roads, bridges, water and sewer lines, and electricity and national gas infrastructure.
I think the water and sewer is probably in the cities, because they're talking about counties and cities.
Yeah.
Unless they would like to get water up to my place, because
I think it says that later, I think later on in the bill it states that, so fine print.
yeah.
Bring it to Wayne.
So anyway, that, good news, it's here. I don't know if anybody's keeping track of the legislature, but everybody is after the oil revenue money. So, there's one bill where they want to push the counties and cities back farther, give more revenue to the state.
Yeah, they want to put that $400 million special, it's got a 5-letter designator, they want to put that in front of the counties and cities. And typically if they want to, they probably will.
Also, I was asked to contact Tim Aarons from Ackerman Espo. I did talk to him earlier last week, but I said the commissioners would like to see the progress on the chip seal project and your bill for engineering. So he sent me, which I knew he had been trying to negotiate with the Morse Seal Coat,
Mm-hmm.
and try to get him to sign on the warranty, which they are not going to do. They don't want to, because in case something, that gives them liability then, that if the county says no, didn't live up to what it was supposed to be, you'd have to do it for nothing. So when they
Isn't that the purpose of a warranty?
it is, but you should have them sign it before.
I'm not,
before the
I'm not
project.
signing because it means I'm accountable for the work I did? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. Contractor did not accept the warranty in lieu of no deduct, because that was the bargaining chip. There'd be no deductions. And
So they accepted the deductions then?
well, they, I'll just keep reading, and would take the deduct on 2 loads. This is what he's requested. I just sent another request to the North Dakota DOT at Grand Forks District to see if they will approach Federal Highway about accepting the deduct on the 2 loads and accept the rest, or to leave project open and inspect in the spring. If there are failing areas in the spring, it may be hard to prove it was because of the certain failed properties or normal wear and tear. So he's trying to, and then Brian Fuchs did call me this week too, and he was They want to, of course, get it settled too. They don't want Riggs County to have to pay that money back, the chip seal to federal highway, which if they can. Usually when FEMA sends extra money out, they don't want it back because they don't know where to put it.
Yeah.
But,
So they want us to swallow hard and say we don't care for the job that we paid for we didn't get. If that's just the way it is. Money doesn't mean nothing, just throw it away. That's what they're saying. Yeah.
it doesn't look that bad, chip seal, as chip seals go. I mean, there's not a lot of loose,
No, but I
Chips or
mean, the
anything.
parameters that are supposed to ensure that we got what we paid for
yes, I
failed.
know that.
And then to take that one step farther, then the people that did the work aren't willing to accept the warranty that they agreed to in the first place.
Well, they maintain the oil was good when it left the factory or the Flint Hills storage place where they load the trucks up. It was good then. But what happened in between time?
Doesn't matter if it was good then, it's when you get the product.
Well, if it's good then, it should be good when it gets out here, unless there was something wrong with the testing or the way the tests were kept, or I don't know how it
You'd think there'd be
could change.
a paper trail or something that they could follow, because when it gets to the job site, there's usually somebody pulling in, a temperature
That's
and
what
stuff.
That's what they're doing, is pulling the samples, but then there's no lab right on site, so that stuff has gotta get to the lab, and then it's probably sitting there for a day or two before it gets tested. So as it sits there, that emulsion works, it just changes so rapidly chemically that
Yeah.
as it dries up, in a half an hour practically you can drive on it. Not like the old oil, the old days, but. So hopefully Federal Highway will soften up a little bit. Because when we met that day on the Zoom meeting, it's pretty adamant that they weren't gonna approve it, and therefore if it wasn't approved, we would have to pay them back because they've already paid the contractor for most of it. There's some retention there, but,
They weren't going to approve what?
pardon,
They weren't going to approve what?
don't approve the project,
Because it failed the test.
right?
So what recourse do we have then? Do we just say, okay, sorry, contractor, it wasn't your fault, the county will just suck that up? I mean,
I don't know.
where is liability, I mean, obviously, if that's the case, the contractor needs to be sued.
Yeah. Might be sued, and then we might lose, and we still end up.
Well, there's always a chance
Yeah.
of losing, but if
If
you
you
don't
don't,
deliver a product that you're supposed to deliver,
if,
I don't think that we should have to pay for it. We shouldn't be the one that loses for it.
I agree, but I'd say Rod picks up a load of oil someplace and it was tested there, it was good. He takes it out and dumps it into some other trucks, and then they put it on the road. Well, they take samples out of that.
But that's not our fault, that's the contractor's
that's
fault.
the contractor.
That's before we get the product. We're the end user of the product. We're supposed to get the product that is supposed to be to spec, the spec that the engineers ordered. And whether it fails during transport, that's not our problem, because we don't own that product, they own that product. And we're the end user, they put it down for us. That's their job to make sure it passes.
There was a
Yeah,
contract,
everything-
there was a contract signed by the contractor, he understood everything in that contract. He has to live up to those specifications, and the argument that we might lose anyway, that's kind of a silly argument. If we don't go after it, we do lose. So that's 100% for sure we're gonna lose. If we go after them, there's a possibility we might regain
There you
it.
go, Jamie. Let's go after him.
Was mitigation part of that?
It will be, always, any court case always has mitigation.
Was that part of the contract?
I don't know,
I can't imagine it wasn't.
Well, I guess I'll have to get everything, we'll have to go through the contracts and find out what happens.
See what happens. Yeah, I mean, because what's the purpose of having a contract then? If we just say, well, guess we didn't get what we wanted, sorry taxpayer, you guys are gonna have to pay. And just because a bunch of bureaucrats want this off their desk, doesn't mean that we pay the price, the Griggs County taxpayer pays the price and eats the cost of it so that they can clear up their paperwork.
The contractor would have a performance bond in place. on this
Absolutely.
one, You know, that would-
They could've just as well put water down and said, well.
But their argument is there was only 2 loads that failed. Out of, I don't know how many loads there
But
was,
how do they know that? And if they know,
because they tested, I don't know how many loads they tested that passed, but the 2 loads failed. And they were only allowed to, according to our contract, to have so many samples tested. So they wanted to have more samples tested, but we wouldn't pay them to have more samples tested. And then it got beyond the 30 days that samples are good. So,
I think you're missing the point of Jamie's end user statement.
Oh,
They
no.
signed a contract to deliver an
This-
end use product.
This isn't Griggs
It's not
County's
up,
fault.
it's,
This is the people that were supposed to deliver the
Yeah,
products.
yeah.
I mean, anybody in this room, if you order a new car and you ordered it with all the bells and whistles on it, and it came to the dealership and someone stole the GPS out of it and the screen out of it, and the dealership said, well, it was there when it left the factory, I guess it's not, I guess you guys are gonna pay for it and you don't get it.
yeah.
I mean, everybody would be pissed, and that's the same situation that we're in with this oil, it's, I mean,
but
you
you
didn't get what we
can't
paid for.
prove that the other 90% didn't pass.
But
We don't
can
have
prove that
to.
the two- We can prove that the
Well,
two
you
didn't
can only deduct
pass.
for the 20%.
And, I mean, we can prove something.
So this boils down to a analysis of the contracts that were signed. Were they in compliance with those contracts or were they not? If they were in compliance with those contracts, then shame on us for signing the damn contracts and our engineers putting that in front of us. That's what we hire engineers for, to safeguard the citizens from being involved in stuff like this. If they're not in compliance with the contract, it's straight and simple. The contract says what has to be done, you guys have to do it. They can come up with all the excuses they want, but that's the way it works, and that's why there's contracts let. We are the end user, we are the one that pays everybody to safeguard our position. When our position isn't safeguarded, it's not supposed to be the county and the taxpayer that takes the beating on this. It's supposed to be all the other people in the chain that put us in that position. That's the way it works, and it's gotta work that way, because if it doesn't, we end up with just the contractors not doing every quality work because there's no penalty for it.
This is kind of something when you guys first came on as commissioners, when we had, the other seal contractor that the state didn't want to enforce liquidated damages against them. The same thing, if you don't ever hold their feet to the fire, they're never gonna improve, they're gonna get by with it because they don't care, no one's ever gonna make them do anything. They can get by doing crappy work and it's not a big deal because no one ever makes them pay for it.
But I don't think we're at the point where we have to sue them yet. I think there's a whole bunch of back and forth that's gonna go on before that ever happens, and we're not talking a bunch of money in the contractor's part of it. So I think we just sit with what we have, state that we want it done according to the contract, and see what happens.
I would guess that there's gonna be arbitration clauses in those contracts, it was never gonna get to the point of being in court.
Well, you'll never get it past the judge without them demanding arbitration anyway, even if it's not in the contract.
The North Dakota DOT said they were gonna talk to Federal Highway
Yeah.
and see if they would approve it. Maybe if we just keep postponing it until spring or summer and the time lapses for the warranty, then it would go away, but the problem will still be there.
Well, I still think we need to hold the contractor accountable, I mean, that's.
And I brought that up when we were discussing it with the DOT and Federal Highway and everybody else, was that a few years ago we had that same problem, but they said, no, And that was viscosity, I think. They said, no, this isn't viscosity, this is something else. Because I said, we wanted to say it was failed, but the state said, well, ours has been like that for years, and we finally just quit checking for a year, you know.
So what's the federal position on this? Maybe I have this wrong.
Federal position is that the sampling failed.
Yep. And their remedy for that is?
Make
There's
it
a
not
deduct
fail.
in the spec.
Huh?
There's a deduct in the spec
Yeah,
for,
Okay.
deduction.
Okay, so the federal entity is going according to the contract spec. Does that contract spec tie the contractor to that spec? Does it follow all the way down? Okay, so then I don't see the problem. So the remedy, if the federal government, if the federal is looking at it and say, here's a contract spec failure, here's the remedy for that. We agree with that as the county, the state agrees with it as a state. The only person who doesn't agree with it is the contractor that signed the contract to do the work, and he's holding this up. That's a pretty tall order to be bucking 3 different entities over something that he didn't do correctly in the contract.
yeah, and I would bet that they would argue that, you know, that the sampling may not have been what it was supposed to be. If you have air in the top of those jugs, it can.
Was the county, who was responsible for making sure the sampling was done correctly?
Engineer.
Very good. In any of these scenarios, has the county done anything wrong?
No.
Okay then, why are we involved in this? This is straightforward.
And
This
that's
is
what I
everybody
said.
pointing the finger at the county when this is not a county issue. This is non-performance on a contract that we entered into legally and paid money to have put in place, and we have a bunch of people not following through with their obligation. Straightforward.
And that's what I said at the meeting. It isn't the county's fault that the oil failed or
Okay.
sample.
I just wanted to get it straight in my head and straight on the record so everybody knows what we're talking about here.
I would think though, I mean, with him having a contractor in this day and age would obviously have a performance bond. And that's what it's there for. I mean, and if it fails, the performance bond should have to be pulled and the money be taken from that.
Right, there's that too, but, so you can perform on a contract and still have deducts against it. You know, based on making for material that meet the spec, there's provisions in the DOT specification for deductions rather than rejection of the material. So applying that deduct is in the contract as one of the remedies. But then the other samples didn't get tested, so you don't know what else is on the road.
What was the failure? Did the report say to what made it not pass?
I'm sure it did.
And I think there's
Density or
accountability
something,
by the
wasn't it?
engineering firm in this case because
Absolutely.
they didn't believe that they were gonna get paid for those additional tests, so they didn't do it. So they didn't, just because they didn't think they were gonna get paid doesn't mean that they should have done the work. They could have fought that out later.
Right.
Okay,
Okay,
moving on.
so how about the bridge, did we ever get that bridge contract back again, Samantha?
I think so.
With-
Did you get it?
I got it, but I tried to explain to whoever keeps sending that to me, I'm not authorized to sign that until the whole group tells me I can sign it. They keep
Right.
sending me the DocuSign. I can't sign that. I have to sign it here with the approval of the rest of you.
Right.
And then I sent it to Jamie to have to review.
Right.
Yeah, I'm fine, it's just a boilerplate contract, like
Yep.
every other contract, so I don't have any problem with it, but yeah, John can't sign it without approval of the board.
Right, so that's what I was
So where is it?
Thank you.
And then you tabled it at last meeting, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you wanted some additional, I mean, I guess I gave verbally the clarification as far as what the potential cost of the county might be.
This is different.
And then that's in your packet, this time here, that was written out.
When you talked to the landowner, Wayne, about this, did he say anything about wanting to know price of the land or how much he was gonna get paid for it, or?
I said what the county had paid for the last project. It's like $1,200 an acre, I think it was. He had no problem.
Okay. Okay.
That, I said, I don't know how many acres we need, but I think they might have come up with something afterwards.
Yeah, so in that handout, in your packet there, I guess I kind of gave a list of what services we can provide for right away and what the total of that would be. The ones that are underlined are the ones that I think we would probably have to do, or that we should do. Just make sure that it meets the federal requirements. So that would be a total of $2,750 out of the 9,500 that we had.
That's what you were gonna.
That's
And
what
that's
it's
not-
saying.
and
That's
that's-
different, that's what it's
But
saying.
we don't have to do that today, I just wanted you guys to be aware of the rough cost would be, and then
That's for
what
last.
the additional parcels that I anticipate will be at, right there. And then I did narrow it down, so I figured a 1/4 mile at the last meeting, and then 150 feet wide, but we actually, the area we're doing the cultural survey on is only 700 feet by 200 feet. Then you
Those ones
subtract
were
out
attached
the
to this
66
budget
foot
sheet.
statutory right of way that you already have a right to be in. So the area would be a maximum of about 2 acres, 2.15. So, I mean, I guess, I was guessing we spent 20,000 at the last meeting and we're at 485, and down from there if the county, if Jamie does acquisitions or somebody else gets down. So that would reduce the cost from there.
And is there cost share on that 20,000, or is that all out of the county's
Not
pocket?
all county, but you could use the prairie dog or whatever other fund you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
for that type of work.
This was in the bills?
Mhm.
Okay.
The only thing with the fence though, if you include that as part of the right-of-way negotiation, then the county would have to pay 100% of that versus including it in the contract and have the contractor put it back up. And that, from what it looked like out there, it's a standard, they have alternating wood and metal posts and it's a 4-wire fence. It's what we would put up anyway with the standard.
He was pretty adamant.
Yeah. Okay.
He wanted his renters to put it up.
Right. Right, and you can do that as part of the right-of-way negotiation, that just wouldn't be able to be funded through the project.
Well, I mean, couldn't it be done through the project and the project pay the landowner or the individual to put it up as a contractor?
Any contractor that works on the project has to be a licensed contractor. They have to have, a subcontract with the contractor. They have to, pay
I got it.
wages and all that. Yeah, I mean, they technically could, but they'd have to be licensed and everything to include it.
I don't remember that, so,
Okay.
but I'm sure it's been done.
Did you get a look to see on, out there about dirt? Do you think we're gonna be on elevation as far as adding dirt, or we were talking like on the approaches and stuff?
So it's, yeah, I guess that next page of that handout, there has
Okay.
highlighted what
So
is the state pays for, what they don't, and I think it's in your packet.
It's not on that one?
Yeah.
No, it's different.
No.
There's 2 of them. There's this one too.
It's right behind mine.
It must be in there, I just don't find it.
Oh, okay.
And then there's this one. Let's see if that one too. Don't know.
So basically, the DOT will pay for whatever needs to be
Keep the
done to
bridge straight.
build the bridge, and there's nothing more that we would do anyway.
That's the problem with these.
We were just talking, it got brought up, I think it was 2 meetings ago, about, we were wondering how much, if, you know, if we were gonna have to add a whole bunch of fill back in, you know, on height wide, you thought it was gonna be.
No, because it actually looked at that again after that meeting, and it actually drops off to the east yeah, there's a, basically, if it did flood to a certain extent, it would go around it. So, I mean, there's not, it comes in so flat that I can't imagine that we do anything more to the road other than what you need to put the bridge in.
Okay, okay.
That's in there more for if you're gonna change road alignment or if you're directing
Let me see
work
that
over
contract.
or you're doing other stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have
Never mind.
I can go grab them. Do you want them?
No, the contract that we have to sign, yeah, that's gonna have to be voted on.
Oh, those two?
Yeah. I didn't sign them,
You're right.
you know.
You didn't DocuSign? I love DocuSign. Once it's done, it's just like, bonk.
Yeah, I know we can't. I don't have the authority, even though I'm chairman, I don't have the authority to sign it until the majority of the commission says I can sign it.
Right. But once we say it's okay, you could've went,
Yeah, but no one said that yet.
no.
I could do it.
But that is on
now. Oh,
this,
you mean I
that
could do
is
it
on,
here.
yeah, that is on this right now, right?
Right.
Okay.
Well, no. Yes, that's what we're gonna vote on.
Yep,
On these, there's two contracts.
yep, okay. Thank you for breaking this detail out, though.
Yeah, no problem. And like I said, the underlying ones are the ones I think that we should do. The other ones can be done either by us or the county. Like that market study, if you guys set a value, I don't think that's looking at comparable sales or even the sale of this parcel itself would be included in that. You can set a value without having to do that, I think. Or not having, without having us do it, you'd still have to document it, but it would probably be a one-page letter or something to that effect. And then the surface ownership reports there that we do, you could order a title memo like you did on the Belt Ridge. That'll be considerably less expensive than that.
So this is that project that we need to make sure that we document all the negotiations with the landowner,
Hmm.
and make sure that we,
Yeah, that's the main issue is the negotiator report,
yeah.
getting all that stuff put together. And then that fall on that right-of-way checklist like we did last time. I don't think there's any
Well, we didn't do all the
major
right-of-way checklists last time. Almost.
Yeah, but then the time we have to do before that, like full service,
Well, I can look at it
right, but like I said, then that would be funded through the
Yeah.
project fund, yeah, but you can't, it's for sure. Yeah, you do that all the
I know
time.
each needs to have separate files and put everything in there, so much info comes with it.
Sure is. Sure is.
Yeah, and then the contractor would clear somebody that's qualified.
Okay, so we need a motion to accept last meeting's contract that you got on DocuSign, right?
For whoever does the construction.
So, these two contracts that I have in front of me, certification of local match for bridge inspection,
Those
they
are
appear
those
to be
ones
the
that
same,
were
but they're
with the
different
voucher
PCN
rate.
numbers, 23408 and 23517, and they're different project numbers. What exactly are we looking at here?
Those are from the voucher that was approved today. That needed our signatures.
They require a signature.
Okay, that's the bridge inspection.
Okay, this is,
Bridge inspection cost share with the state.
okay, so this isn't the
That's-
documentation to move forward with this bridge project then? Where's that?
That's on the DocuSign,
That's on your email.
Okay,
but
So-
she forwarded it to Jamie reviewed it.
right.
And that was all the.
Is
the
that printed
papers
out?
I
Is
brought.
that printed out then?
Did you print it?
I didn't. I mean,
I
that
think
needs,
it should be printed for the rest of the commissioners to.
absolutely, that needs to be printed, presented, and signed, not on
Here.
DocuSign. Because it could be, needs to become a permanent record of these
You
proceedings.
can,
You can print it after it's DocuSign.
What's that?
You can print it after it's DocuSign.
do you still have your email? You can print it right from your email.
I don't think I can.
That's not the way we're gonna do business here. We're gonna do business here the way it's supposed to be done. The documents presented, everybody can look at them,
Right.
and so they can be signed and put in
Yep.
part of the record. That's,
So
it's not gonna be done by DocuSign.
you should be able to print the document.
I should be able to, but so should the engineer.
Right.
Like, once we sign it, I don't have access to it anymore because it's not our document. And I emailed the DOT asking for that yesterday, and she's on vacation all week.
Do you have access to your email?
And Sam signed it already, so she doesn't have access to it anymore either, right?
I think I do.
Jamie, did you sign it yet, or?
No,
do you have a
I-
signature page?
I don't think there's any-
Oh, I have access to
I
it.
only had access to sign it as Samantha, so I couldn't sign it.
Oh, you just wanted her email.
It's bridge number 12, 11907.
Wayne's got it.
The only thing is that
He had it at the last meeting too.
it says Stephanie's
Right.
name there, but you could cross that out.
Oh, you have another one. Okay.
It was all signed, but then right here, it's, nobody signed this.
We're not approving $1 million project with sticky notes and crossing things out. Come on now. Last meeting, you were gonna have all this in place so we could do this.
Right.
Well, I know right.
Yeah,
Oh, did you get the document? Can we print it up off your phone? Or?
I can print it here.
oh, oh, you got it. Right.
This is just for the engineering, anyway.
Right, and I brought all that stuff last time on paper. Everything that we put together, I brought.
Was the contract in that last meeting paperwork too?
Not the actual DOT forms.
Oh, okay.
But accompany all the detail that I brought that looked into that,
Okay,
but I don't have access to that.
okay.
I assume that going forward, where you're gonna have access to this. Again, we're not doing things by DocuSign here. This is, the reason for these public meetings is so the public has access to it, has the ability to see it being done, has the ability to watch the process happen.
Right, yep, and it was sent to the county.
So while Samantha's doing that, we'll move on to Jamie, or excuse me, Sheriff Fluck, Barnes County Correctional Contract.
Okay, was there questions or?
Just what your recommendation was.
Oh, I recommend sign it. It's just a standard jail contract. It tells what our monthly or our nightly fee is for a prisoner. If they're there on work release, they add $20 to it. That is paid for by the inmate, not the county.
Okay.
It explains if someone in our care we arrest needs medical services or something like that, that falls back on the county. If they have personal insurance, that takes care of it.
Okay. And who else are we using besides?
We use Stutsman County and Barnes County. Stutsman County contract I think is good through 23.
Okay.
So it doesn't tie us to anything other than if we have a prisoner there.
So your recommendation is to enter into this contract
Yes.
with Barnes County?
Yes. And just on that note, we've got some new home monitoring companies that are popping up, and they're legit. Jamie and I have been working with one, and Kelly. They are expanding their service a little bit. If there's people that we can keep out of jail and they choose to go on home monitoring, it's on their dime. So we're looking into that as much as possible because it's taxpayers' dollars, jail
Right.
contracts. We don't really benefit much from it, but sometimes there's no option. So
Right.
we'll keep you guys posted on those
Yeah,
things, I guess.
the cost of housing prisoners,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to be a deterrent anymore, so it's just a drain on the taxpayers. So
Right.
whatever we can do to lessen that cost.
And we're trying,
that's
we're
the issue.
working on that. So.
Yeah.
Do you have an updated contract? Because mine was just the
Do we
one
need-
page.
Yeah, I'll have them send me a different one.
Perfect.
Bob, who signs this? Do you sign this? Do we sign this?
It's,
Or is it just, is it just a
in the
an
past, I
approval?
signed them, and
Okay.
then before I left, you guys decided you were gonna sign everything, so.
So where is it?
It's not on, I don't know where it's at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I will have them send me a brand new contract, the wording will be identical to that.
Okay.
It will be signature block. So this doesn't tie the county to anything financially. If you want me to sign, I'll sign Jay, what do you think?
I think it's fine.
I think it's fine.
Okay, so can I have a motion authorizing Bob to sign the Barnes County Correctional Facility contract for 2023?
Make a motion.
Motion by Zorn, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Edlund. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Go for it, Bob. Thank you. Jamie, Clerk of Court Office Bill. I assume it's not a payment, I assume it's,
Not a payment. There's a Senate bill, legislated right now, it actually went through, committee and got a due pass. Kelly talked to me yesterday about it, and, so what the situation is, Kelly knows this a little bit better than me. It's Senate Bill 2277, it passed in the Judiciary Committee 5-2, got a due pass. As a few of you know, I don't think everybody was here when Chief Justice Jensen came and visited the courthouse. It is a bill that would make the current counties that are the clerks of court are current county employees. It would make those employees state employees. Currently, there are 14, I believe, counties where the clerk of court is a state employee. All the bigger counties like Cass and Stutzman, Barnes, Burley, Morton, Ward, Williams, McKenzie, Ramsey, Grand Forks, and Walsh, I believe, are all currently state employees as it is. This bill would move the clerk of courts and the rest of the 39 counties in the state to be state employees. I personally don't really have an opinion on it. I don't know if it's good or bad. We don't have enough details.
That's right.
From them. I don't to really know if it's going to be good or bad. But there are a number of counties that have either made resolutions or sent letters to the representatives and to the committees to or they have voiced their opposition to it. And I guess, like I said, I'm not going to advise one way or the other, but we have a copy of a resolution that the other counties have been sending out, and Nelson County actually made the motion to, or did send a letter, or is prepared to send a letter to our representatives that I drafted. So I guess we were kind of wondering where everybody stands in that position. Kelly might have a little bit more information about it than I do, have some more knowledge of it too.
Yeah, so currently there's 39 counties that are contract counties, and 25 out of those 39 have all either signed resolutions or, like Jamie did up in Nelson County, they're a letter just opposing the bill. So essentially what they would do is the county would still have to provide a space for the clerk of court's office. In the bill, there's no reimbursement to the county to pay for any of that space, rent, any of that. They would provide one employee for the county, but the smaller counties would then have to take on other counties, larger counties' work. So essentially, we wouldn't just be working for our citizens. And the other issue that I have is, right now I'm a dual office. There's 2 of us in the office, and so we have somebody to cover. With their proposal, with their, number of FTEs that they're, these smaller counties are only providing 1 person there. So if there's vacation or sick or meetings, I don't know how any of that would work. There would be nobody else in the county. And I too, Jamie and I talked about it. We can't name all the benefits or disadvantages. I personally don't see how it benefits the county, I guess, to take another completely trained employee that can cover the office if there's something. Then that pushes that other office in, if, it could cost the county more if they have to find another employee and train that, because even with the clerk's office or the recorder's office, you would still need to have somebody to help cover that office if, you know, somebody's gone. I just don't see how some of these departments you can run with just one individual. You have to have somebody else who's knowledgeable to know how to run it. I guess that was the other thing too that I thought, you know, and one of the big things that the other counties have talking against it is they just don't feel that what's happened with social services has benefited the county, and they don't like the direction that has went. There is testimony online if you wanted to listen to some of that. But yeah, like I said, so far 25 out of the 39 counties. There is the 26th county is having a meeting tomorrow to try to also sign a resolution. Does it do or prevent anything from happening? It just gives you can submit it, which the other counties are doing, to oppose what's happening, because that is the one thing that they said that they wanted to hear from is the counties.
Yeah,
The majority of the counties do not want this. They don't want that local control to be removed.
Representatives like to hear from counties as to
Mhm.
what they feel, how to help make a decision. So, I don't know, did you want to have a draft letter and send one in?
You know, Jamie and I talked about this too, and yeah, I don't know how this benefits the county. I don't see how it benefits it.
I can speak to that side of it real easily. Go ahead, keep going. You present your side, and I'll speak to the side how it benefits the county. Okay, so right now, the state is paying 37%.
Yeah, it's
of
point
the clerk of court. Okay.
Yep.
Just a quick glance at this thing. I didn't read the whole thing, of course. It looks like it's going to be a full-time position now, which will be based here out of Cooperstown.
Correct.
And the extra work that you're talking about then is work over and above that 37% that will fill up the time of that full-time clerk, whether it be you or somebody else. That will also free up the possibility that Griggs County won't have to pay for that employee, the other 62% or 63%. So there will be a savings right away to the county, because now we won't have to pay for the clerk of court's position at all. That will be off with where it belongs. We've never run the judicial. We've just used them, and we've given them a part-time employee. It'll be separate, completely separate from Griggs County. So now we won't have to pay anything. Now all we have left is half of a recorder's salary. And we could very easily then combine the recorder and the treasurer with one assistant, and we could save $50,000 in salary, plus the benefits, plus the long-term retirement. This is a win from the financial side for the county, and I don't see how it can be argued any other way. Now, as far as the coverage, if no one's here to cover it, now we have somebody accountable. We have the state judiciary. If no one's here to cover for the clerk of court, we call them up and they say, we've got problems here, you took this over, what are you going to do about it? So that part of it, I think, is better off for the county. The sticking point here is we're just barking up a tree. The Supreme Court runs this thing, as you know, the whole court system. The chief of the Supreme Court was the one who went around and did all the meetings. He's very much in favor of this. I don't believe that the legislature is going to go against his wishes. He has a lot of clout because he doesn't ask for much very often. And so we're going to be in the same position here that we were with the social services. You either go along with the program they put in place, or you don't have to. But you'll have to pay for whatever program that you want to put in place of it. And that's what will happen here. So how can it not be a benefit if it's going to be a cost savings to Griggs County? How can this not be a benefit? And we're going from a 1/3 position to a full-time position. I don't see how it can be any other argument. And Jamie said right off the start, we don't have many facts on this, but we're going to send in a resolution opposing something we don't have any facts on. That looks pretty juvenile. And we can oppose it if it comes out and it's bad, we can oppose it. But why oppose it when we don't know what they're proposing?
I think Jamie's letter here with Nelson County points out a lot of really good facts of why they are against it and why they do
I
oppose
guess
that.
my only argument against it is that we don't know what the outcome of it's gonna be because we
That's
don't
right.
have the information. So I guess my position in being opposed to it, and Nelson County's is the fear of what's going to happen. Without having any answers to it, I don't know how a person could be in favor of it because you also don't know what's going to happen.
That's right. So I'm not in favor or opposed. I'm in a position where we sit and wait and see what
As
happens.
an individual, though, if anybody as an individual can always send letters to representatives, you don't have
Absolutely.
to get. I mean, so as in the recorder's office, if you feel like you want to send a letter, don't let it hold you back or anything, because you sure can. It's not a problem.
No
but-
one said that.
You know, if the commissioners don't feel like they want to jump in and hop aside or not, we don't really.
Well,
Need
to your point, every individual has a right to send a letter, but by the commission sending the letter, we're sending the letter for everybody in the county.
Right.
And so
That's
we're
what I'm
taking
saying.
away the people that might have an opposing view to this and taking the side of the people that want it done. I think we should be neutral and see what happens, just like what happened with the social services. Now, did that turn out good or bad? You ask one person it's bad, ask the next person it's good. I don't know on that.
I can tell you from the sheriff's standpoint, it was a bad deal.
Yep. And
Bad deal.
no doubt. But did we have any way to stop it? They said, okay, you don't have to be involved, but now you pay for it all yourself, and here's the services you have to provide.
I do
That's
know
the
that.
same thing that's going to happen here.
I do know the Chief Justice, and I talked to him, he was quite amazed at the opposition statewide by all the counties. He said there was no county that, and the groups even at the meetings, none of them were like, yeah, we should do this.
Yeah.
No, but it still marches forward, so.
Yeah.
okay.
Even the committee, if you listen to that, even the committee said, we feel like our parents are fighting here. The county's voice is pretty strong, and I know there was several law enforcement that spoke up against it at the, like I said, you can listen to that too. Just losing that local control. A lot of it is the fear of the local control. Once you give up one office, it just can spiral from there.
But
So-
we gave up control of the court system long ago. Griggs County we just farm out our services to the state.
Yeah, all the counties did in the
Yeah,
80s when
long ago. This is just the last residual of a county employee in the court system. So I don't know if it's good or bad, but a resolution saying that everybody that we represent is against this is, I don't think, warranted, or nor is one saying that we're for it. That's my opinion. And you're right. If Stephanie wants to send in a letter, or if you want to send in a letter, if Jamie wants to, everybody's entitled to. That's the way our system works.
Right. I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew what was happening, so it wasn't a surprise to you. Why didn't you bring this to us? I know it was
Right.
emailed to all the auditors a few months ago or something, so.
So you don't have to
But-
answer the question. I have to ask it though. Will you take the position if it's offered to you?
I honestly don't know,
Okay.
because
I said you don't have to answer it.
I mean, honestly, and this is the part that, is part of the struggle, is I love my job. I love both of my jobs. I don't want to have to, is the pay better? Is the benefits better?
Sure.
Absolutely. But that doesn't mean everything.
No,
And
but-
I love serving the citizens of Griggs County. I don't want to have to do Cass County clerk of court work and have my Griggs County, well, I can't do that right now. I just had 2 emergency orders this afternoon. What if they are emergency orders for Cass County? Sorry, I can't do that. I'm servicing, Cass County. That's where I have an issue, is right now we're dedicated to the Griggs County citizens, and that's what's honestly, that's, I guess, what
Yeah.
I like doing, and, so I don't have that answer. I wouldn't have to, since I'm elected, I wouldn't join it until 2027. We fulfill our term. They
So that
can't
was the
trump.
question I had for Jamie. Is the clerk of court's position elected, or did we just lump that in with, was it just lumped in with the recorder? Because I can find no provision to have the elected clerk of court.
It may
In
have
the
just been
century
lumped
code.
in since the
It-
recorder was.
It was just
an elected
assumed, it was
position.
assumed, because it was assumed.
I think it's like ex officio clerk of
Yeah.
court or something like that, but yeah.
Because I can
So-
find no provision to have an elected clerk of court. So I think that was just put together, but the election, I don't think the election as clerk of court has any binding at all, because I think you're actually hired, I don't think you're elected, because it doesn't have a provision for an elected clerk of court in the century code.
Well, I think as an elected, as a combined elected office, I think it does. Since
There's-
the offices are combined.
There's 13 out of the
That are elected?
39 that are elected. Yep. So I have one of the 13. So it says in the bill, those that
Are
are
elected.
elected would serve out their term, and then they would have to.
So we're talking a long time anyway.
2027 would be January 1st, 2027, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
were elected, so it'd be
2027.
So it's not gonna affect us that way anyway.
Not right away. No.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it starts in 2024. It would be proposed to start in 2024 for the
Yep.
appointed positions.
Yeah, but that's not
January
gonna
1st,
be us.
2024.
And
So let's not start yelling at them until we have to yell at them.
I'm good with that. I just wanted to bring
No, I know, I'm
bring
glad you
to
brought it to our
guys, so-
attention. They can change their mind many times between now and then.
Yeah.
We're back to the contracts now, right? How many of them need to be signed? Wayne, we've got 2 of them with the bridge inspection.
Yep.
The share on that.
Yep.
How come there's 2 bridges?
They were listed as 2 different types, it looks like BR,
Okay, so I've got 2 contracts here that need to be signed with the state of Transportation Department for local funds for inspecting the bridges. Project number BRC BRS 009904 and 010. It's just obligating us to the matching funds part of it. So if I could have a motion to approve the signature of these 2
I'll make a motion.
certifications. Motion by Zorn, could I have a second?
I'll second.
Second. So this has to do with finances. We'll take a voice vote on this. Avriel? Tranby's absent. Zorn?
Aye.
Aye on Avriel. Tranby's absent. Zorn?
Aye.
Edlett?
Aye.
Wakefield, aye. Approved. So. Now we have the digital contract that miraculously got converted to paper.
Well done.
So this is a preliminary engineering contract, correct?
Yeah, this is for preliminary design.
But it's going through all phases, 1, 2, 3, and 4?
Cause I haven't seen the phasing, it's all on our end.
Okay. And does this obligate us for the whole project, or does this obligate us for the initial engineering
This would be just for the design.
design part of it?
I don't, if it doesn't go to construction, then I'm not sure what happens with that. Is there a provision in there for that?
That was the question last week.
I think it was dropped.
There was, you can stop work at any time by either party, I believe is what it said in there.
But the question was, is there a financial obligation if we do that? Are there over and above the engineering costs? That's why we tabled it last week,
Okay, and
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
And that's what I brought this time was the written out, what I verbally said last time. And
Well, rather than me
As far as
read 40 pages here, and what is the, what was your determination on that? What are we signing, what are we being obligated to here?
That's for just the 100%, the DOT will pay it 100%, but it's a county the county has to be a party to the contract that's on your system. So there'd be no county cost for the design.
No, the obligation, not the financial obligation, the obligation, are we, once we sign this, are we obligated to complete the whole project? If we aren't, what are the financial risks that we might encounter?
This is just for the design work.
Yep.
I mean, I guess if the bridge bids, so if you get your design done, you put it out for bids, and you get bids that are way too high, you can still reject those and, either rebid, or I don't know if the project just dies then or how that works. I don't know. This is just for the design work though.
Well, I know, but so in your scenario, what does happen? I mean, are we obligated then for the engineering costs up to that point?
Like I said, the DOT is paying 100% of the cost of the design. So
Even if
I don't think they'll pull that. I don't think they can pull that back.
Is there a copy of the contract that I can see?
Yeah, right
yeah,
here.
but
It's just
40 pages.
These last 2 pages, what you really, the rest of it's like the attachment to it. I was just reading the termination part of it.
Okay, let's go on to the farmstead credit applications. As some of you are aware, every year the treasurer sends out farmstead credit applications, which basically defer the property tax on homes that are situated on land used for growing crops or commodities. And over the years, the treasurer has always done that, strictly from the fact that of course they're paying their taxes. The treasurer sends them out and gets those applications returned before the tax statements are filled out. From the calls that I've gotten and from the research I've done, I don't think those got sent out. Is that possible? Yes, they didn't get sent out?
Did not get sent out.
Okay. So, they weren't sent out, was anybody notified they weren't gonna be sent out?
Just people have called in, because the previous treasurer only had been doing that since the tax director was let go. So that, otherwise it's all tax director.
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with the tax director. I have in front of me the tax director's duties. And none of the duties of the tax director specify sending out these forms. This was done, and right here in front of me. This was done.
Oh, I got one here too.
Yeah. This was done because, of course, we're here to serve the taxpayer, and the taxpayers aren't in favor of paying more tax than they should. So why wouldn't we send those out?
Not properly trained to do them. I was not trained to do those, or I do the veteran credit and the homestead just because it explains on the back if people are approved or denied, but those for sure are tax director, and even that I don't feel comfortable having my signature on them saying it's for tax director, because I'm not tax director. I'm not qualified.
Again, it is not the tax director's obligation. Right from the Century Code, the obligation of the tax sector is very simplistic. It has nothing to do with sending these forms out. This is a courtesy and an obligation of county employees. We serve the public. So now, I think I understand now why we have collections that aren't up to par with what they have been in the last few years. I think people are getting their tax bills and saying, well, that's too much, why should I pay it yet?
I think the last report you got didn't have all the entries put in, all the deposits put in, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, that,
The report that you were given, that was given out last
The
Meeting.
statistics.
Yeah.
That
That was supposed to be on your fifth meeting, I think it was, whatever, January 5th, to show you, because that's when I came to ask about Connie coming in, and I brought that in to show how far behind we were, that's why. But those are the taxes that people have been paying in.
But you're, as of right now, you got them
As
almost.
of right now, we were a little bit behind because of closing books this month, but now we're on track to getting them all in, but I haven't filled out a new report for that. I don't know if you guys get a statistics throughout the year, or if it's just once a year.
Connie would just do the 1 year.
Just do once, okay.
The 10th of November is when that's supposed to be done. So what are we gonna do about the farmstead credit applications? We have all these people out here now that are going to now have a tax bill higher than they normally do because these applications weren't sent out. And of course, they're going to be upset with everybody involved with the county for not doing that. The only way to get their money back is a whole bunch of abatements. This was a practice that has been going on forever, and all of a sudden it just wasn't done.
Do you know which century code that states that it's the treasurer's office that is supposed to send those out?
I
Is it my
didn't say
century code? It's
I
not
didn't
in
say it was a century code that the treasurer's office was supposed to send out. I said it is not the duty of the tax director.
Well, it's not in my treasurer's century code, but I send those out. Homestead credit and vet credit are in the century code of general property assessment. And those are to be completed and sent out by, which I've got.
Will you agree that the treasurer has been doing this for as long as I can remember?
I know when I was a tax director, I sent them all. It was the tax director's duty. I know.
Will you agree that the treasurer has been doing this for the last 10 years?
So how long
And
it's
so all
been
of a
since
sudden,
we
all of
got-
a sudden it's not done, and now we have to deal with it not being done. This is, if you weren't gonna do it, then you should have told somebody you weren't gonna do it. We're not supposed to be at odds with our citizens. We're supposed to be here to help them. And have them call up and say, why didn't I get my tax credit application, and have someone say, well, it's not my job. Doesn't really fit the bill very well.
Well, homestead
And
credit
then
and
keep-
vet credit is actually supposed to be sent out by county auditor. I've got it right here in the century code, highlighted.
Then why in the world, when the treasurer's department was sending it out, why didn't you say, I'm not gonna do it, the auditor's supposed to do it? Why did it just, the ball
learned that
just get,
today. That is.
it was,
my day.
the day doesn't help. It's all, the tax bills have been sent out,
Okay.
guys.
So to prevent some uproar here, what is the next step? What is the next step that we do?
The only way to fix this now is to have everybody pay the assessment and then file for an abatement,
Okay.
okay?
Well,
That is gonna be,
you know what?
that's gonna piss a lot of people off.
Unfortunately, we can't fix what happened. It's been done. So now what do we do to move forward? Is the thing. So we need to figure what to do to move forward, to fix this. And it was great every year that Connie sent that out. That is awesome, amazing.
Like I said, I don't have the training on it, so I wouldn't be able to do it properly. Even if it
So
was under me.
4 months after it should have been done is not the time to tell us that.
Well, the homestead credit and vet credit. separate.
I don't care
It's
about the
just
homestead
not-
credit. I said 4 months after it was supposed to be done is not the time to say I'm not gonna do it. We've passed the deadline to get this done. People have been billed more than they should be, and now we have to deal with it.
okay, so I suppose we don't have to deal with it here. It'll have to be deal with it. Do you guys know how to deal with it then? To take care of it? Do you contact the people? What do we do? Sure, it'd be nice if we had a tax director.
Again, it is not the tax director's job to do that. Read what I just gave you on the century code.
Actually, what did you say? Whose job was it?
Well,
If we're doing jobs,
that's not
but,
farmstead. Or
Oh,
that's not the farm home.
but
It's not.
the fact of the matter is it wasn't done. We can dwell that it wasn't done, but now we need to correct the action.
So how should
I
we
don't know.
correct it?
Do people know how to correct the action? I don't know anything about farmstead credit.
We, being the government, we're sending these out because the citizens had the ability then to sign them and send them back in. We were doing what the government's supposed to do. We're supposed to work for the citizens.
Mm-hmm.
We're not supposed to make the citizens crawl to us and say, please, Mrs. Auditor or Mrs. Treasurer, can I have my form so I can get my money back that I'm entitled to? That's what happened. I mean, this was just a poke in the eye of the taxpayers. This is not, there's no excuse for this, and it shouldn't be tolerated, and I don't know what to do about it.
Okay.
But there needs to be a
Who does it
public
legally
there needs to be a public
Does it have to be
apology made by
legal?
somebody.
Because I was told that I'm not obligated to do the farm credit. So I wanna know who it actually falls under.
Again, this is 4 months after the fact. If you weren't obligated, you must have known it when you didn't send it out. Why didn't you come and say something to somebody? The argument is, that argument was fine 4 months ago. It does not work now.
I was told at the beginning of the year, once after, like, I know we're not on the subject of it, but homestead and vet, once those were sent out, which I did not even get to send out because of course I was gone, the farmstead credit did not get put along with it because I was told that is a whole nother.
So you didn't maliciously not send those out in November?
No.
I agree.
So she didn't maliciously do it?
I agree.
So,
She knew about it, she knew it had been done before, and she decided not to do it and not to notify it. If that isn't the definition of malicious, I don't know what
I knew
is.
about that in January, that I'm not obligated to send them out. Not 4 months ago.
did Connie tell you 4 months ago to send them out?
Mm-mm.
Did anybody tell you 4 months ago to send them out?
Nope.
Was it on a checklist 4 months ago for you to send them out?
Nope.
Were you aware 4 months ago that you had to send them out, that it was your job?
No.
Let's ask the
Okay,
the
so-
question, who has sent them out, who has sent them out for the last 10 years? And was she aware of the job she was
Just because
sending
she
into
sent
and
them
who
out
trained her
does
for
not mean
that
I'm
job?
obligated to send them out. Just because the previous treasurer was helping out with it, does not mean that I'm obligated to send them out.
Okay, so I'm done with this topic. We just need to figure out how to fix it. We can hash it out all day long. It's 4 o'clock. What is the next step to fix these things? What do the citizens have to do?
What do the citizens have to do?
What do we have to do to
Isn't that
fix
the
this?
crux of it? Well, don't you imagine the citizens should be informed that there was a mistake made and they should be given the paperwork already filled out in order for them to return it so we can fix the mistake?
Okay.
How in the world does an elected official think that people are going to vote for them when they treat the people that vote for them like they are
Okay, so
used garbage? This is something's run amok.
So
here,
a letter
guys.
needs to be sent to the people then. Who's going to write the letter?
Well, there's a list of the people that normally take advantage of this farmstead credit applications, and that's how they got sent out in the first place,
Okay.
mailed out to them. This was a simple deal to do.
Okay.
I think there should be an ad taken out in the paper too, because there's probably people that are unaware of it. I think there should be a notice put in the paper that people are eligible for it and that they can come in and
I mean, the
apply
calls
for
that
it.
I've received, the people are just like, okay. They don't seem upset at all. They're just like, so this year it's not going to be getting done. I was like, no, yeah. And they're like, I haven't received it. I'm like, yep, it's not a duty that I was known about. So they don't, the calls that I've gotten, they don't seem angry. They're just, okay.
All right. We'll put something in the paper stating it and who are they to come see if they come to the courthouse? You're pretty much on maternity leave still,
Because
so.
I have the applications. Like there are, like I have a blank one along with all the extras that are in my office, but I'm not told that I am the one that has to do those because farm is way bigger than the homestead vet. Way bigger.
Okay. That's for the next one.
I do have the, excuse me, the application here. Oh my goodness, and, my goodness, sorry. On the bottom of it, it says application is approved or not approved, and it's for assessor or director of tax equalization only.
So who's the assessor that can sign? Who is our assessor?
Each township has an
Yeah,
assessor.
each township has to sign it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the township and the,
I
No,
think just one, for assessor or director of tax equalization only.
oh, okay,
So they are the only ones that can approve or deny the farm credit.
okay,
It's called farm exemption credit.
and that's what it's
Farm
always been
residence
done.
property tax exemption.
We've always
Okay.
sent them out. They've had the assessor sign them and they come back.
okay.
I don't know what training that involves to do that. I know how to get to the post office. Jamie, how you coming on that contract?
It just states that, North Dakota DOT reserves the right, with or without cause, to cancel, terminate this agreement on written notice. In the event of termination without cause, North Dakota DOT will reimburse the engineer for costs incurred prior to the termination date without further liability.
Your recommendation?
What's that?
Your recommendation?
It's just a typical boilerplate contract. I don't see any problem with it.
Okay,
You need a,
I'll make a motion to approve the
Motion.
contract.
we need a motion to,
Phase one.
Preliminary engineering.
we need a motion to approve the preliminary engineering
I'll
contract.
second it.
Okay,
Number 38230036. We have a motion by Stephanie to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Zorn. This involves finances. We'll have a voice vote. Avriel?
Aye.
Aye. Tranby is absent. Zorn?
Aye.
Edlin?
aye.
Wakefield, aye. Signature approved. Where is it?
Many places.
No, that's not the Alpha Center. Tax director.
Okay, so I'm just sending you guys, well, Josh isn't here, but for the new people, I did contact another county and we got kind of a job description as to what duties they do. And then you guys have the century code as to what they do so that you guys know what entails in the job. I am not 100% fluent in what tax director all does either. But with this being said, we still have it, is it publicized? We might have to look into possibly sharing a tax director with a different county.
Okay.
I think we really need to have it, and we'll just keep plugging away on it.
I think it is still advertised. I think I posted on some website.
You posted it on some website,
And
yeah.
there's one or two websites I posted, and I think it's, and I know it's on the website, our website for
Yeah,
sure.
and I just updated that one
Okay,
too.
okay.
Cool.
Century code for the tax director.
Oh, right
Going
here.
on under-
Here's, whoops.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
So the handouts you have with the January, February, March, April, May, those are duties that have been assigned to the tax director by McKenzie County.
That's just kind of just an idea as to what McKenzie County, how their tax director, their duties that they do. It's
Absolutely.
kind of like a job list.
Yep.
And then the other, then I also attached the century code. So
So,
Job lists and duties are kind of handy to have, but just so that,
but these duties are not an obligation. These are assigned by, because the tax director works at the pleasure of the county commission can assign whatever duty is deemed necessary. These are the duties assigned by the Century Code, the 5 duties, which is basically straightforward. They assume the assessment responsibilities of all the different assessors.
sure,
These duties are something that if we had a tax director, could be assigned to the tax director. They're not mandated.
sure.
So that's the difference here. I get, every time we turn around, something gets done, I think it's the tax director's job is to replace the dog ate my homework. We blame everything onto the tax director, when most of the time, yes, it could be something the tax director would do, but in reality, the actual job of the tax director is fairly limited. So do we need a tax director? We'll see. Some of these things could be done. If you look back at a lot of things that haven't been done, they are the duties or are prescribed to either the auditor and sometimes to the treasurer in very small instances. But almost everything that was done in the county pre-tax director, which wasn't that long ago, I mean, in comparative, we still do business the same way. They added the tax director after the fact. All these things were still done with the staff that we have.
Right, but we have new people here who weren't aware.
Right, no, I understand that.
So now you guys have kind of an idea as to what
My point is,
a tax director is.
things should not come to a screeching halt because we don't have a tax director, because they operated perfectly normally without a tax director, and in the 10 years I've been here, we haven't had a functioning tax director the whole time. So, we can certainly try to find one. We can certainly assign duties that would be beneficial to the citizens, like doing the farmstead credit applications, is the senior applications and things like that. That'll be fine if we can find somebody, but to find somebody with the qualifications is a daunting task.
Mm-hmm.
Because those qualifications were written for counties that had the ability to hire 1, 2, 3, 4 of them and pay them a lot of money. We don't have the ability to pay a lot of money for services that don't return any dollars to the treasury. It's a burden on the taxpayer rather than a benefit. What's this?
Well, this is the next item.
Oh, okay, we're not done with this one yet. So, we are advertising for the tax director, is that correct? Please, when people call in with problems, do not say that it's not my job, the tax director, we need a tax director to do it. Let's get done for the citizens what they need done and move along here. After all, everybody is an elected official, and if you keep aggravating the people that elect you, pretty soon you probably won't be elected. That's the nature of the game. It's the way it's supposed to be. Anything else on tax director, Stephanie?
Nope, just that.
Thank you. All right. We're on to the 2023 regular commission meeting schedule.
Okay.
Stephanie.
And Jamie, here's the things. And apparently all I'm looking for here is for Jamie to explain his legal advisement as to why it was unable to be changed.
So it's unable to be changed because it was advertised, it was selected in the month of December. It's been advertised. We didn't choose, or then it came up in December, so it was put out there for a month to the public that the meetings were gonna be on a certain date, certain time. So, let's see. 11-1105 reads, the Board of County Commissioners shall meet and hold regular meetings for a transaction of business at a time and place to be designated by the commission on a date certain. You announce that date certain in December. A date certain is a contractual date. So that's why in my email to you, I suggested to look again at date certain, because that's the key word there.
Yeah.
Date certain means that it's a contractual date, and cannot be changed. So once that's announced, public knows about it. We had a discussion about it being transparent and looking like we're not being transparent. Once those people have notice of those dates and put them in their calendar, they shouldn't have to continue looking for notice of those dates, because those are contractual dates certain. So whether it may be a situation where, say, on December 10th, we had the meeting and December 11th before people found out about it. But we went from December, whenever it was known in December, until the next commission meeting, which gave, it's plenty of time. I think that date certain is a contractual thing, and people should not have to, if they want to attend a commission meeting, they should not have to continually check. For instance, I'll give you a good example.
This wasn't a continual check. This is like a one-time change, Jamie,
Right,
to
but
change
with
the
date
whole
certain,
year
it's already a
in the
contract.
beginning of the time.
Okay, let me
so it's
clarify
already-
date certain before you go on, and here's a legal definition of it. A date certain is the exact date by which a specified action must occur. According to a particular contract, the date certain is on an important piece of information because it is legally binding on all parties involved. And by announcing the date that we were going to finalize the meetings schedule, we set the date certain. And go ahead, Jamie. I just wanted to make sure we have that.
So actually, what Aaron Burst does, the director and the attorney for the Association of Counties, when he teaches the commissioners about open meetings and open records, he actually advises that the commission set more meeting dates as regular meetings than what they ever will actually use. And if they need to or don't have anything going on in the agenda, they can cancel them. It's a lot easier than setting special meetings, because special meetings you have to abide by a specific agenda. When that meeting notice goes out, that's the agenda that we have to keep. Regular meeting isn't the case. So it's, again, my opinion, because of 11.11.05 and the specific language in it, we have a contract with the citizens of the county that we announce a date certain that those meetings would be and a time certain that we have to maintain that specific date and time.
Okay, thank you. I did visit with Aaron also, and he didn't think there was a problem with changing it, because it was like in the beginning of the year, right away so early. If you asked to do it like in March or in May or later on the year, then that'd be too much. But since it was in the beginning of the year, it was no problem. However, you already gave your legal, and you said you can't trump. You gave your legal advisement, so there was nothing we could do to change that.
Well,
But thank you for your explanation on your side.
We're
I
acting
appreciate
like
that.
we're acting all of a sudden like if we could do it, we would do it. We don't even know what the vote would be on changing the meeting dates.
But
We changed them to this date because the last two commissioners that got put on wanted them changed to Thursday.
I guess I'm also going to add something. I'm the state's attorney here. I'm elected and entrusted by the citizens. Aaron Burst isn't. Anybody else isn't. If you want advice, ask the damn state's attorney. That's what I'm here for. And as far as anybody going over my head, it's getting a little bit ridiculous. I'm the state's attorney. I'm elected. The citizens have entrusted me. I'm the only way you're protected.
Yep.
So it's ridiculous that we're dealing with these games all the time. I'm sick of it.
Yeah. So maybe just for the sake of getting it out in the open, can you define the legal protections that we as elected officials have, and the way in which we can step outside those protections?
Well, I guess first of all, the advice I have to the commission is pretty well researched, and if I don't know the answer, it's researched more and researched through other state's attorneys who have either gone through this or through the Association of Counties that has gone through this. But you're pretty well protected personally. If I advise you to do something, and if I'm wrong, then the DERF will kick in. Because that's my liability coverage. If you go against your legal advice from the state's attorney, you're not really, there's a potential that you're not going to be personally protected by the DERF.
Right. Thank you.
Well, that kind of leads into our next one, games of chance permits. 22 and 23, the quilt auction at Red Willow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anybody care to make a motion allowing that permits, these two
Oh,
permits?
I'll make a motion to accept the permits, to approve them.
Motion by Edlin to approve the permits for Game of Chance for the Red Willow Bible Camp. We'll need a second to that.
I'll second that.
Second by Zorn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Permits approved. Just to back up to the farmstead credit applications, how are we going to proceed now with getting those? Are we gonna go through the list with everybody that should have been eligible, and then send them an abatement form? Jamie, I'm losing a little bit of.
I suppose that's what's gonna have to happen. It's on the back side of it, so they're all gonna have to be abated, I think.
So, if they sent in their tax obligation less the payment for the dwelling, they would be delinquent, correct? There's no way to amend that,
I think they
other
have,
than the abatement?
I think they have until what, February 15th or March 15th? March 15th. February 15th. So they've got a couple days.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a non, I mean, we have to identify, first of all, how many people this entails. We've got a list. We've always had a list. So I think this needs to be a topic of discussion for the next meeting. I think we need to have a list of the people, and I think we need to approve having a letter sent out to them. We need to put a letter, we need to put a notice in the paper. We need to notify all these people of the mistake that we made, and we need to correct it.
Should we have a letter that we're gonna put in the paper, written and then brought to the next meeting, so we can approve the letter?
Yeah, I think we should. I think this has to be done all in.
Yeah, I guess I can work on that. I have no problem doing that. I don't know. Jennifer used to send the letters out with the treasurer's office. I don't know if Annie will be able to do that because she's been helping the sheriff's office.
Well, I mean,
so,
the start of the data comes from the treasurer's office. It sounds like she's got the list.
but I can draft a letter for you guys to approve and draft the notice for the paper.
They have until when to do this?
No, the 15th, in order to amend their tax statements, but that, the time on that is not. So.
There's gonna be there's time and there's a process to this because it has to be okayed
By the assessor.
by the assessor.
There are gonna be some pissed off people, and I don't blame them.
Taxpayer question? Can the state be consulted on this? This cannot be the first time this happened in our code in 100 years. I'm just saying, this has happened somewhere else. There's probably already a protocol in place to deal with this. I think I would consult that. I mean, I would try and find someone who's been through the system.
Well, so.
I'm not saying, I'm not okay anything, I'm just saying, there's gotta be someone in the state of North Dakota that has dealt with this.
Okay,
And
so
there's probably a procedure.
we sent out the applications as a courtesy.
Yep.
So it wasn't something we had to do
Right.
by statute. So we set the applications out as a courtesy, which then got the citizens in the frame of mind that we'll send it to them and they don't have to come in and do it. So what is it, you know, how do you say, well, we were no longer being courteous, we just didn't send it to you, and too bad if you didn't realize you didn't get it.
Rick, I understand that, John. My part, I'm talking about is now now you're in the mechanical part of it.
Right.
Like,
Well,
with timelines and dates and that, so something must have happened before with this.
what just
Something.
happens is you have 3 years from,
Yeah.
you can apply for abatement up to 3 years,
Right.
because that's the tax years, so what'll just have to happen is that there will have to be abatements, and I suppose, I don't know, I don't know what happens if we issue refunds or it goes against the following year's taxes, because there's people that pay taxes before the first of the year, and there's taxes that pay their taxes.
No,
So
it'll
they
come,
get-
it's, no, it will.
Or is it for 20?
It will come out of 2023.
Okay.
So the 2023 collections is what will pay the abatements, even if it happens in 2024.
So the landowners have to fill an application for the credit and the abatement as well?
So North Dakota allows that the primary residence for somebody that receives a certain percentage of their income from working in agriculture, whether it be a hired man or anybody else, can apply for an abatement to the dwelling.
Yep.
And it's a form that has to be done every year because, of course, situations changes. We have made, for years, we've sent it out as a courtesy. It didn't get sent out. Once we sent out the tax bill, that becomes, so you can't change it, so now you have to abate it. You have to go through the whole process again and abate it.
Right.
So they're gonna have to pay their bill, they're gonna have to pay the overage, and then wait for the money to come back to them.
Right. So then do they have to fill out both forms or just the one? I'm just wondering.
No, for this year, they already missed the deadline for filling out the farmstead credit applications.
Okay.
So now, they're gonna have to live with higher taxes because we can't refund them until we get an abatement form sent in. And they can't deduct it from what their taxes that they're gonna pay because then they would be in default.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is,
Yeah.
you wanna piss off a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I can't think of a better way to doing it than what just happened here. Old courthouse, new courthouse.
Nothing from me.
I've got nothing.
When's the last time you reached out to them?
It's been some time. I couldn't even tell you, to be honest with you.
Reach out to whom?
Well, with the old courthouse, they're trying to, we need to get it approved by the Historical Society to be able to take it down.
Okay.
Well, I think we just, the last time, if I look again, I can bring the last email, but I think it was just what we needed to do. I think we needed to draft or come up with a sign, determine us if what we were gonna do with the salvage. I think we were supposed to advertise for bids for salvage.
Oh,
Um,
you wanna share that email with us?
yeah, I can, and I think I have in the past.
It was part of the meeting minutes.
I mean, are we going to like make a sign or anything for that, or
Well, I mean,
do
it's
any of
part of
the
the
steps? Or-
requirement.
Okay.
What we've been trying to do, because they just keep making it, we're just going on for 10 years. Every time we go with one, okay, say they want us to make a sign, we'll make the sign, and then there's something else, and something else. What we've been trying to do is get them to give us a complete list and tell us that if we complete everything on this list, you will approve what we're trying to do, and they won't do that. They just keep kicking the can down the road, and we keep hopping after it. And so every time they come with something, we do it, and then they say, but you gotta do this.
Yeah,
But you gotta
they
do
always
this."
add more things.
So we've been trying to, if you want to tear this down, there should be a list, here's what you gotta do.
Okay.
And when you come to the end, will sign off, but they won't give us that information.
Okay,
So,
Sent it to you, Stephanie.
thank you.
yeah. Future business. This farmstead credit application thing is gonna be on here for a long time.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned. 4/21, Thursday, February 9th. Next meeting in
Who's
these
the girl you're
chambers,
working with?
2:30, Thursday, February 23rd.